that which we were listening to before, as we were tuning ourselves into here, was Deva Pramal Miten and Manos with the Gayatri mantra. The Gayatri mantra is a very fundamental mantra in the life of a spirit walker, which is what you are. Another announcement, a little more celestial. Mercury goes retrograde the day after tomorrow. So I look so forward to Mercury retrograde. Just because I can notice things that can stop working. And I can notice things that stop being stuck. So anything that needs a very precise mechanism to hold it in place, such as your patterns, your habits, right? During Mercury retrograde, what happens is that mechanism, that mercurial mechanism, which is communicating in the unconscious and holding all of those aspects together, is gone retrograde, which means that it's gone what appears to be in a reverse energetic. It's the way the orbits of the Earth and Mercury occur with each other. There is a period of time that it appears that Mercury is moving away from the Earth. It would be when the Earth is this way and Mercury is this way, and since Mercury is a tighter orbit than the Earth's, its orbit is actually faster. So until it actually gets around to where it's following the Earth, right, and then gaining on the Earth, coming towards the Earth, and then the moment it goes past the Earth, it's retrograde again. And it goes, and it takes 3 weeks to go through its retrograde period. And did you know that a year on Mercury is longer than a day on Mercury? Excuse me. That would make no... That's not illogical to a thing. That's just normal. We'll edit that out. You know how to do that. Yeah. What we'll do is that the day on Mercury is longer than a year on Mercury. Because its spinning is slower than its orbiting. It's a powerful, powerful energy, Mercury is. Your Mercury finger is your little finger. And it was formed because your hands were formed in your brain. It was formed out of what's the frontal lobe, which is the lobe that gives us the capacity to reason. It gives us the capacity also to memorize. And we have reason to memorize. So it is really, really, really powerful, Mercury. And when it goes retrograde, things fall apart. And for yogis, that's a blessing. Because we're all about growth, which means moving into that which is unknown. And what we tend to hold on to, what we tend to lock onto, what we tend to attach to, is that which is known. It's the way we maintain our identity. If you got up in the morning and you looked in the mirror, or you heard your voice and you didn't recognize it, that would be disturbing to you. And then you say you want to change. But you only want to change enough so that you always recognize yourself, which is counterintuitive, because change means that you are going to grow into someone that you don't recognize. So you want change, but you want to know who you are. The combination of those two events is what is called self-realization. Because you realize that at the center of what appears to be you is the true you. And that is nothing to do with the you of identity. It's got to do with the you of eternity. And the you of eternity just simply is. Just simply is. Relating to the you of eternity is relating to that which is eternal or that which is infinite, and that is what is everything. So if you're relating to that which is everything, it means that that which you desire already is, because it can't be something that's getting added to everything, because everything by its mere nature is everything. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everything is everything? Isn't that kind of just like, well, that's so logical. Thank God you're making sense. So the nature of everything being everything, and you're relating to your eternal self, which is everything, it means that that which is to be already is. And the only thing that stands between the is to be becoming, the is to be future tense, becoming active tense, to be present tense, is you dissolving that which is in between. How fast can you dissolve that which is in between is how fast you will manifest that which is to be. And you can know what is to be because you desire it. And the spiritual statement of being desireless doesn't mean that you do not have desires. It means that you know that your desires will be. Therefore, your desire becomes. And that's to be desireless. So you can know what is to be by just knowing your desires and not having this awkward relationship with your desires. Don't get your hopes up. You don't want to be disappointed. That's like the old saying, children should be seen and not heard. Can you imagine if we lived our lives today with children should be seen and not heard as our mode of operating? You know, how wanted would children be? How much would they feel that their voice was appreciated? How much would a child grow up to experience its ideas as being valid? Shh, shh, go away. Shh, just sit, be quiet. Wait till you grow up, then you can say something. By the time they grow up, they have no values, so they'll say nothing. And they'll just go to work. It's a great way to make slaves. But today's world is the age of enlightenment. The age of enlightenment does not make slaves. So the idea that you are to be, and you can know what you are to be by your desires, or you can know what you are to have by your desires, and then you will say, how long it takes for this to arrive, because it's on its way. How long it takes for this to arrive is how long it takes for me to stop wanting it. Because when I stop wanting it, I can begin having it. And that transition, scary. Because we identify ourselves by our wants. We do. We identify ourselves by what we want to achieve, what we want to have, what we want to be. And if we start releasing our wants in order to have, we can't want it if we have it, so we don't know who we are. So we have to go through that. It's a little bit like learning to drive a stick shift. Remember those days? When you go through that in a life, that herky-jerky can be like days, weeks, months, years in that herky-jerky. How fast do you let out the clutch and press the gas? How do you coordinate those things? How fast do you release your want in order to have? Or do you fool yourself by going intellectual and saying, okay, I don't want it. And then what are you doing? You're waiting for yourself to have it, but it ain't coming. Because damn, you still want it desperately. You've just given yourself this, I don't want it, intellectual up here. Can't take place up here. You can comprehend it up here, but you have to live it here, in the heart center, in the heart brain. And you cannot live in your heart brain if you ever, ever, ever carry a grudge. Because the heart and the grudge can't coexist. And that's why it's